Imagine this. You've worked hard your whole life, saved diligently, and now retirement is finally here. You picture stress-free days, endless vacations, and total freedom. But then reality hits. Things you never expected start creeping in. Boredom, financial surprises, and even regret. If only someone had told you the truth about retirement before you got here. Well, today I'm pulling back the curtain and I'll reveal the 5 things retirees say they wish they were told before they began retirement. The last one, it's the biggest regret of all, and the one thing you must get right. So stick with me to the end, because this could change everything for you. Now, retirement isn't just about having enough money, it's about having a life worth living. And yet, so many retirees find themselves unprepared for what's really ahead. Let's dive in, starting with one of the biggest misconceptions, and that's that retirement is just a long vacation. That's false. One of the biggest surprises? Retirement can get boring. Sounds crazy, right? After years of working, you think unlimited time freedom would be a dream, but many retirees say they feel lost. Take Greg, for example. He spent 40 years as a high-powered executive, dreaming of the day he could finally relax. But in a few months, he was restless, irritable, and even a little depressed. I had no idea how much of my identity was tied to my work, he told me. The truth? You need purpose, whether it's starting a new hobby, mentoring, volunteering, or even a part-time passion project. Having a reason to get out of bed in the morning makes all the difference. Now, most people assume they'll spend less in retirement. No more work expenses, no more commuting, right? Wrong. Many retirees actually spend more, especially in the first few years. Travel, home renovations, family gifts, it all adds up. It might not be all bad, because the one regret that older retirees have is that they didn't spend enough early on while they were still in good health to travel and engage in other activities. As you age, there can be increased healthcare costs, and those can be brutal. Just ask Linda and Mike. They thought they had it all figured out financially, but within 5 years of retiring, they had burned through more of their savings than they had ever expected to. Thanks to spontaneous travel plans, a new car, and home repairs they hadn't anticipated. We thought retirement would be a lot cheaper, Linda admitted, but we underestimated how much we wanted to live while we still could. And that's why having a flexible financial plan is key. Your spending will change and evolve, so you want to be prepared for those shifts. And speaking of shifts, your social circle will shrink unless you act now. Here's something people don't see coming, and that's retirement can be lonely. When you leave the workforce, you lose your built-in social interactions. Take Carol. She retired at 65, thinking she'd finally have time for friends and fun. But within a year, she realized something shocking. Most of her social life had revolved around her work. Without it, her phone stopped ringing. I never thought I'd feel lonely in retirement, she said. But I had no idea how much effort it takes to maintain relationships. If you don't make an effort to stay connected, your world gets smaller. And that's why the happiest retirees are proactive about building friendships, whether it's through clubs, travel groups, or even moving to a community that supports an active social life. But there's another major change many retirees think they'll handle easily, but actually struggle with: downsizing. It's emotional, and it takes a lot longer than you think. Now, you might think you'll downsize right away, but when the time comes, letting go of a home full of memories is hard. And the process, it can be overwhelming. Just ask Susan. She and her husband had planned to downsize right away after retiring. But when they started sorting through their home, the emotions hit hard. Every item had a story, she said. It wasn't just stuff, it was our life. My Aunt Sharon had a similar story. She lived in a great big house in Minnesota for many decades. She kept promising to clean it out so she could sell it and downsize. She really struggled with discarding her treasures. She explained to me that it wasn't actually getting rid of the stuff that was the problem. It was all of the beautiful memories associated with each item. The items had a loving connection to the past, to people who were long gone. She shared with me how she was sad that my cousins didn't really want the items. Ultimately, she lost most of her eyesight and then engaged someone to help her with that big task. I'm happy to say my aunt now lives in a lovely 2-bedroom apartment in a vibrant over 55 community with lots of fun activities. And her most precious treasures are with her still. The big house, packed with stuff, was emptied and sold. Many retirees say they wish they'd started that process earlier, sorting through decades of stuff before it became urgent. So if you're even thinking about downsizing, start small right now. Your future self will thank you. And now we've arrived at that biggest retirement regret of all. Here's the real retirement killer: poor health. What's the point of financial freedom if you don't have the energy to enjoy it? Look at Jim. He retired early at 60, ready to enjoy life, but within a few years, inactivity and poor diet caught up with him. I had the time and the money, but I didn't have the health, he said. I wish I had started taking care of myself sooner. The retirees who thrive prioritize movement, nutrition, and mental well-being. They stay active, eat well, and keep their minds engaged. Because longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about living well. And that brings us to you. So now that you know the 5 things retirees wish they were told, what will you do differently? Because retirement isn't the end, it's the beginning if you design it right. Bye for now.